Welcome to the Beyond Cinema studio up here at Sundance. Slava Rubin from IndieGoGo, CEO of a company that's doing some pretty amazing stuff up here in the film space, but of course has broadened its reach from its initial purpose years ago. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing up here. I know there are about half a dozen projects that have raised money through IndieGoGo, but what are you doing to take that to the next level in terms of innovation?
Yeah, so we're super excited to be here. Actually, we launched IndieGoGo in January 2008 here at Sundance on Main Street. So it's really great to be back, and we've seen some incredible evolution. This year we have great films, and just to highlight a few, which is like Dear White People, which I had the opportunity.
Buzz.
What's that?
Getting some good buzz. And
yeah, I had the opportunity to actually see the premiere yesterday, and it was great. It was, and the fact that Justin was able to create a team to get the funding on IndieGoGo was remarkable. Yeah. So good to see that come to reality. And then today there's going to be Life Itself, which is really exciting, the documentary about Roger Ebert, and have the innovative distribution plan as well there.
So let's talk about the distribution plan there, because that's the kind of key thing about what makes this different, is that the people that are backing the project had an ability to get a live stream of the film from Sundance. Is that something that was innovated by you and presented to Sundance and the other partners, or was that something that came to you as a proposition?
Yeah, so just to summarize really quickly, I believe for the first time ever, there's going to be a film festival premiere, especially a Sundance premiere, that people will be able to watch it right here physically or from their couch anywhere in the world, which is fascinating because they have that live stream or a stream for the next 2 weeks. Who decided this? It's really been a collaboration through a few parties, which has been great. The folks, obviously Steve James and his team making the movie. There's the folks at Cinetic and figuring out how to be innovative there. We had to get approval through the Academy for any types of rules there. And then obviously Sundance had to approve it, as well as IndieGoGo to be able to make it happen. So there's a lot of collaboration, and if you're innovating into the future, there's obviously going to be a lot of people who are interested.
And how many backers are we talking about who get that privilege?
I don't know the exact number of that. We can follow up. But it's definitely dozens, hundreds. I believe it was over 1,000 that were funding. I don't know for that specific perk.
Right, very cool.
Some people funded to actually see the premiere in New York or be there at the premiere in LA or Chicago. Some people funded to have a meet and greet with Steve James, and other people funded to actually get the live stream.
Do you get kind of buzzed in on the daily creative perks? Like, is there someone who comes, knocking on your door and like, you have to see this, this might be the most creative perk we've ever seen?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, every single day we're seeing incredible videos where people are coming up with these campaign stories, incredible campaigns as to, wow, who even knew this idea could happen? For example, we were just talking about CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, and just to go off target here for films, but we had the first ever medical tricorder, which is like straight out of Star Trek, to bring it back to films, where you actually have a device that you can scan right against your head and tells you your EKG, your blood pressure, all this amazing stuff. So when you see that come out, everybody's like, what is this? Amazing.
Talk to me about kind of like the last 18 months, because I've seen a lot of tech go up on IndieGoGo lately, and of course it started off as this film funding platform. But when did that transition happen, and is film still the biggest thing on the site, or has tech and other innovation taken over?
Yeah, so we came up with the idea in 2006. There's two co-founders and myself, and we had a mutual frustration of trying to raise money using the internet. Eric was on the board of a theater company, Danae was working with different filmmakers and entrepreneurs, and I started a charity because my dad died of cancer 10 years prior. And we thought...
Is that the myeloma, Music for Myeloma?
Music Against Myeloma, exactly. So my dad died of multiple myeloma. And we thought, hey, we're all having our mutual frustration of trying to use the internet. Why not try to create something where it's just completely open, where anybody can raise money for any idea? So right away from the beginning, we wanted to do everything. But we learned from Amazon, if you focus on books first and try to be very specific about product market fit, then you could expand later. So that's where we decided with film first. And we launched in January 2008. And then very soon after, we expanded out to everything. Now we do have some very big categories, including hardware, like you mentioned, film, music, personal cause, nonprofit. I mean, these are all really exciting, but we allow anybody to raise money for absolutely any idea with no judgment, so we're always seeing surprises.
So what is the number one category on the site right now?
Yeah, so I mean, we're distributing millions of dollars every single week to 70 to 100 countries a week. I mean, the categories I just mentioned are really the main categories.
Yeah, but there's no one that's kind of dominating the space.
No, actually, really, we break down the world into three main areas: creative, cause, and entrepreneurial, and all three are growing quite rapidly.
I remember back in the day, like the IDA came on board, the International Documentary Association came on board as one of your partners.
Yeah.
Who are some of like recently been your most active partners?
Yeah, so probably the most active partners include folks like Fractured Atlas, which they have a really good fiscal sponsorship program, which filmmakers really appreciate, and many other creatives. I believe we already have done over $6 million of transaction volume with that one partner. And also YouTube has been a really good partner, but there's really been many good partners. Some of these new hardware incubators have been good partners as well.
What's been the most exciting thing for you personally watching the growth of this company? Because I remember when we were kind of struggling with things on Fundable, and then Kickstarter and you guys came out, and it became okay, do we do the thing that makes us try and get all of it, necessarily, or do we go the route of IndieGoGo and make sure we're able to keep whatever we raise and get a discount if we actually make our goal?
The coolest thing for me is, I've been drinking my own Kool-Aid for now 8 years. So the fact that it's actually making a small impact on individuals' lives where they're able to bring new entrepreneurial ideas to life, that being a movie, a new band with a story, a song, or a brand new baby. We actually had the first ever crowdfunded baby. So a couple was not able to afford getting the in vitro that they wanted. All the insurance companies turned them down, the hospitals turned them down. They turned to IndieGoGo, and not only did they raise the funds, they then had the in vitro, and they even had the baby, which is just fascinating. I mean, to me, it's all these positive vibes of people learning about how to improve their ideas and bringing incredible ideas to life.
And College Fund is next on their program, or?
As a matter of fact, maybe for them, College Fund will be, but people have already funded being able to attend college on IndieGoGo.
And do they remember you afterwards, or do they forget about you? Are you the doctors in the hospital who then get a nice thank you card afterwards, or do they?
That's actually one of the best things. We get love letters all the time, and obviously love letters today means emails, videos, photos, all kinds of stuff. But when you work at IndieGoGo, you're just surrounded by all these incredible things that are happening.
In terms of the monies raised for projects, do you find that because you've got this international platform now, is it international projects being funded in that region specifically, or do you find that they're getting funded from all over the place?
Yeah, so IndieGoGo, from the beginning, we really wanted to become the world's open funding platform. And it's hard to be the world's if you're only in America. So right away, we started adding different functionality and technology to be able to make it more accessible. Even this past year, we've grown over 300% in Europe alone by adding different currencies and languages. It's actually shocking to most people to find out that over a third of our funding actually happens outside the US, both on the funder side and the campaign owner side. It's actually very difficult to get a campaign funded, fully funded on IndieGoGo without having more than one country fund you. So it's actually very international. Usually, for example, the Roger Ebert doc, I believe, is over 20 countries that funded that campaign alone.
That's very cool. And for you, have you put a project up there other than the entire project itself?
Well, which project do you think I would put up there?
No, that's what I'm asking.
Music Against Myeloma.
Okay, cool.
Every year. It was exactly the impetus as to why I thought it was challenging to use the internet. And yes, I use that campaign every year. I do other campaigns as well, but that campaign really helps me to always be understanding my own product and seeing how it's evolving. Plus, it was the reason why I wanted to raise money in the first place.
Great. And in terms of Kickstarter, like obvious rival, are you guys friends first, or are you guys rivals first? What's the competition like?
Yeah, so since we launched the industry, we have actually over 1,000 competitors. We actually have several competitors that have been funded on our site. For us, it's really about being differentiated. And for us, we're doing something that really no one else is doing, which is actually bringing the crowd into crowdfunding. So there's three things. Number one, we're completely open, where anybody can raise money for absolutely any idea without judgment from any country. Number two is that we're completely merit-driven based on data. So it's all based on how you're performing as opposed to who do you know to be able to get onto the homepage or into the newsletter. And number three, it's all about showering you with love. So we try to make sure that every campaign owner or funder gets the best positive experience, and that manifests through our response times and making sure that you get all the support you need.
Who currently holds the record on the site for most money raised for a particular project?
So we have the Ubuntu Edge, largest funded campaign ever, $12.8 million.
Did you ever think you'd see the day when that was those kind of sums of money were coming through the crowdsourced avenue?
I need to say yes, because the vision is way bigger. Did I know what it would look like? No. Did I know that it would be so rapid? No, but I think we're in a very special time. You know, I think the 80s was all about desktop computing. The 90s was all about online commerce. The 2000s was all about social. And by the end of this decade, I think it'll go down as the decade of funding. I think between crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding, the banking of the unbanked, social credit scores, there's some really exciting things. I think we should not be surprised if we hit 9 digits by the end of this decade.
And in terms of personal career path for you coming through business school, going to Wharton, all that sort of stuff, do you credit that with giving you the tools you needed, or was it more the street smarts that got you through?
I mean, every interaction that has happened for me in life has been part of where I am today. So all of it's good. It starts with my parents being able to come over from Belarus and giving us the opportunity in America. But for me, it's just exciting to be able to be part of a company like IndieGoGo, which is able to change people's lives. It's really a special opportunity where, you know, I'm one of the founders of a company that we founded a company that founded an industry that might impact the whole world.
Very cool. On that note, I'm going to thank you for your time, for coming in and having a little chat with us today. That's great.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, mate.